So the flock's getting pretty big, which is good. I mean, we want them to get big. Pretty soon they'll be big enough to start laying eggs for us. We haven't seen any activity of that yet, or an inclination to that yet. One of the things we have noticed is that I think they've been sleeping in the nesting boxes, so put that plastic in there, that corrugated plastic in there, so they won't sleep in the nesting boxes. They're sleeping up on the high roost, which inside the coop is up at about this level. There's one there, there's one here, and whenever I have come out in the evenings, most of them are up on the top level, so they're having no problems getting up there and roosting on the top level. They like to roost up there, but they're not quite big enough yet to start laying, and they've not shown any signs or indications that they're ready to lay yet. They do like coming out here and visiting with us. Every time we come out here and start talking to them, they tend to rush over to the gate and that kind of thing. So, a little bit of an update on the farm bit. The plants are growing. It's funny, you put them in the ground and water them, and they grow. It's this cool thing that God does with plants. And we're actually starting to get some good stuff here. Showing some jalapenos, which are growing pretty well. The habaneros, we're starting to get a few right up here at the top. Looks like some fruit. We're getting some squash, some yellow squash. We're starting to get buds and flowers and stuff for the zucchini. And so those should be growing in. Hopefully this trellis will work. We're just trying it. We're winging a lot of this stuff, so I don't know if it's gonna work or not. So you can see the pollinators at work here. It's not always bees. The cucumbers are growing up pretty well. We're starting to weave them in and out of the fence as they get big enough, get close enough to this fence that we put in, and they'll be able to grow up that. Look at the tomatoes. So we've got some tomatoes, and we tried something here. We took some of the cuttings and we put them in here, and it said to just bury them down in there, leave only a couple of leaves on there so they can grow. And this is only after a few days. They're not wilted, so it looks like they might actually make it. So we might get a couple more tomato plants from cuttings, which is kind of cool. That's not something I've ever tried before. Plants seem to be pretty resilient. It's amazing. So the potato tower, still nothing happening there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I don't know if the potatoes are ever going to grow. I don't want to uncover them and mess with them in case they are growing, but I may have done nothing more than create a compost pile here. Yeah, not one sign of life on this. I don't know, maybe this won't work. Maybe I didn't do it right. I don't know. The watermelon are coming in. Everything's growing pretty well, so that's all good. It's nice to come out here in the morning. We've had a few days of rain. To give you context, this is recorded May 30th. So some cool stuff is supposed to be happening today. SpaceX is supposed to be going up. They were not able to launch Thursday due to weather conditions, and today they're going to have very tight weather conditions. So that's something I'll be watching this afternoon. I'm really hoping that they get to launch, because that'd be kind of cool to see that. So one of the things I want to talk to you about was I have to, because of all the rain and everything's been so wet, I gotta mow the lawn. Man, it's going crazy, so I gotta mow this. I either gotta mow this, or I gotta figure out how I can cover it all with plastic and turn it into garden. I'm not sure which would be more work. Time to wake up. We got 3.5 inches of rain in one day. It was probably in a couple of hours this past week. And look what it did to the pool. Completely filled it. I love it. I think the pool is open. I gotta double check the chemicals and that kind of stuff, just to make sure everything's okay. One of the things that I did, well, the thing I did yesterday after I got off work was came out and got the rototiller out and tilled up all this ground behind me, and then put some ground fabric down here. Now this garden is going to be the pretty garden. Now, if any of you guys have ever heard Dave Ramsey talk and have been through his Financial Peace course, one of the things that he says in there, he tells a story about his wife wanting to buy a China hutch. He says, I don't know why Sharon wants one, and I don't get it. And he said, with guys, he said, sometimes you don't get it, you just got to get it. I'm not really into the planting a flower garden to be all pretty and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes you just got to get it. The whole time I'm thinking, I'm wasting all this ground cover, putting it down so we can put mulch on top of it, so we can put flowers in here and have a nice flower bed. We plan to have the walkway for the pool right in there. I'm thinking, why are we wasting all this stuff? And then I realized I still have half a roll of that woven ground cloth in the garage, and we've done the flower bed, and I've done all of the vegetable garden that I'm going to do for this particular round. So I went ahead and put this in. That's what's going on today. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. So if you remember previously, I showed you where I had planted peppers from the seeds that we had kept from the peppers that we bought at the grocery store. And remember how I showed you that the red peppers were growing and nothing else was growing at the time? Well, I came out yesterday and we've left it long enough now that now we have another row of peppers growing. So we have the row of orange peppers is growing, and I've probably got 15 to a dozen, and we're getting more and more red peppers coming up. So we're gonna let these really grow and get pretty big over here before we transplant them to the garden. But that's kind of exciting. They actually grew from seeds. So that's just my update for today. The other thing I'm gonna do is, I don't know if you guys have noticed, is my camera, I love this camera. It's a Canon G7X Mark II. And one of the things that is a common problem is the lens is not sealed. And so in just the right light, when the sun's just right, if it shines in the lens just right, all of the little dust particles that are in there just show up on the video, and it's really bad. Right now you can't see it. There's a huge particle of dust right at the bottom of the lens in here. Almost, it's out of view for you guys as far as you can look through the video, but it's right there. And you can't see it because the light is not refracting off of it. But one of the things I'm gonna do is take apart my camera lens today and clean that out. And just go search Canon G7X Mark II camera lens cleaning if you want to do it, and there's several ways to do it. The blueberries are coming in, the grapes are coming in. Springtime in the garden is good. Look at these blueberries that we're gonna get. Look at all these. Very nice. So if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, tell your friends to come watch. I know there's a bunch of channels like this, but I wanted to do something that was different from my cycling channel. And keep the two channels apart because they're so different. So I appreciate the subscription. And until next time, cheers.